Hello my loyal companions, welcome back to the channel and to another episode of Rogue Revealed, the series where I take you through everything you need to know about Rogue Company. In today's episode I'm going to be using the statistics that I've taken from the shooting range to answer the question, what is the best SMG within Rogue Company? This video will be a very similar format to my last one where I talk about the best assault rifle in Rogue Company, so if you haven't seen that, make sure you do after the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel to get more guides, but for now, let's get into the video. I'll be looking at the different stats of the weapons such as damage, range, recoil patterns and time to kill, and the weapons that I'll be going over today include the D40C, which is Shaq's SMG, the lmp-x, which belongs to Talon and Glitch, the HRM24S, which is Lance's SMG, and the SLC, which is shared by both Ronin and Scorch. What you can kind of expect to see from the SMGs is their fire rate is going to be very high, damage numbers are going to be slightly lower, but the time to kill is going to be pretty competitive. It will just fall off at range. Here are the damage profiles for the weapons, and as you can see we have the body damage here and the head damage here. Looking at the numbers, the lmp-x actually has the highest damage, followed by the HRM24S, then the D40C and then the SLC. We then have the two different range drop-offs, which is the distance at which the damage goes down. For the D40C, if we take that as the example, from 0 to 10 meters, it is 13 body damage and 19 headshot damage. At 11 meters, that goes down to 10 body, 14 head. And then at 21 meters, it goes down to 8 body and 12 head. This second damage drop-off, so these numbers here, is continuous no matter what the range is. So if this were to go up to say 100 meters, 200 meters, this damage would still apply. Looking at these numbers, you can see that the lmp-x has the highest range, followed by the D40C, then the HRM24S, and then the SLC. This, however, isn't a massive difference between all of them. There is about 3 meters difference between the highest and lowest gun, so it's not that impactful, but the actual damage stats are. When we fully upgrade the weapons, they often come with range additional attachments, and I've accounted for that here. So the first drop off here, instead of 11 meters, is 14 meters, and instead of the second one being 21 meters, it's 24 meters. And these damage stats apply to those different ranges. The trend seems to be that the damage stat on the SMGs adds an extra 3 meters to your range. This works for all of them other than the SLC, which actually doesn't have an increased range attachment, so these range stats apply for all of them, which makes it quite weak at longer ranges. We also then have fire rate here, which shows you the amount of bullets in the magazine, the base magazine, and how quickly those spit out. You can see the SMGs get through their rounds very, very quickly. From these numbers, I'm able to find out the time to kill, which is how long it takes for you to kill someone if you were to hit all your shots. And in that, I've also included how many shots that actually takes realistically. The single shot speed is basically another version of fire rate, and it shows you actually how quickly these guns are shooting out bullets, with the SLC being the quickest at 67 milliseconds to shoot a bullet. The time to kill goes from the lowest possible, which is hitting all headshots at the closest range, to the highest time to kill, which is hitting all body shots at the furthest range. And I've accounted for that with both up base 100 health and also 125 health if they were to have armor. Looking at these stats, the SLC has the quickest time to kill when it comes to the base 100 health in both the lowest and the highest. When it comes to these shorter range fights, the HRM and D40 are then the next best comparable ones, followed by the lmp-x in last. But when we switch that over to the longer range time to kills, you can actually see the lmp-x takes the second spot, followed by the D40 and then the HRM. This pattern basically then repeats at the 125 health mark, with one exception, and that is that the D40C actually has the best time to kill at the closest range. That gives you a good overview of your lowest time to kill to your highest time to kill possible, so the range at which it will take, assuming you're landing all your shots. So it's very important to see how many shots it actually takes for you to reach those time to kills, so that you can see whether it's accurate. What I've done though to give you a more realistic picture of how long the time to kill is for these weapons, I've gone for body shots over the different ranges, because that's the most consistent what players will actually hit. Here are those stats on screen, and what I've done is I've put in brackets next to the time to kill for the different ranges, how many shots it actually takes realistically. But what I've done also is I put it in a graph for you, so that might be a little bit easier to demonstrate. Okay, so here is the graph, and the important thing for you to notice is that the lower the line, the quicker the time to kill will be. When the line starts to go directly up, that is when the range drop-off comes in. So if we take the SLC, the green line, you can see that that range drop-off kicks in at 9 meters, and that is why the time to kill changes. What we can see from this graph is that the time to kill for all of them in this close range area before the first range drop off is very, very close, with the D40C being slightly better, then followed by the SLC, then the HRM24S, and then the lmp-x. Obviously the ranges differ slightly, which is why the lmp-x has this slightly better range stat coming up out of there. What we see when we enter the mid-range of damage is that the D40C starts to get a bit of a better lead in terms of time to kill, and then the HRM24S and the SLC are very, very close in this margin here, with the lmp-x drawing off slightly. The reason the lmp-x is a little bit lackluster here is because it requires 10 shots to do the full 100 damage. However, at 9 shots, it does 99 damage. That means it just requires one extra shot and one extra chunk of time to kill speed for you to be able to get the full 100 health. If this weren't the case, or you weaved in one headshot perhaps, then this time to kill would be much, much lower and really competitive with these other ones. As we move on to the extended part of the range for the weapons, you can see the D40 then starts to fall off a little bit, with the SLC coming in quite closely. This does require 13 shots though, so you have to be careful to see whether you can actually hit those shots at these longer ranges. The lmp-x then comes in a very close second, and this is a very consistent gun. It still only requires 10 shots at this other range, which is why this line goes on and there's no second drop-off stat. D40C then comes in third, with the HRM24S really struggling at these longer ranges, taking well over a second for you to be able to kill someone at these longer ranges. To sum that up though, basically at the closer ranges, all the SMGs are very, very competitive. When we then move into the mid-ranges, the D40C is generally the better one. And then as we move into the longer ranges, yes, the SLC has the lowest time to kill. However, given how many bullets you have to hit and the recoil, which I'm about to touch on, perhaps the lmp-x is actually a better choice here. I will now just touch on recoil patterns, because they're a very, very important factor when deciding which gun is best within this game, because at those longer ranges the recoil is more impactful, and you need to know whether that has a factor on whether you're going to hit your shots and whether the time to kill is accurate from that. What you'll see from the D40C is that the first few shots will hit, then it will start to jump up and move to the right before moving slightly back to the center, cluster up a little bit around that top section. When we add all the attachments, what happens is the very, very same pattern, except everything is a little bit tighter in terms of bullet spread. The jump isn't as big and it doesn't move as far to the right, but still clusters around that slightly top area. With the lmp-x, the first few shots hit and go directly up, then it starts to weave to the right a bit, back to the left to stay more central, and then continues to go up from there. But what you'll notice is that there isn't a lot of height in the actual recoil. In the fully upgraded version, there is no recoil attachment, so it continues with the same pattern. With the HRM, what happens is the first few bullets hit straight, then it immediately jumps up and to the right before slowly recentering itself back to the middle. Again, for the fully upgraded version, there is no recoil adjustment attachment, and so therefore the recoil is the same. The SLC has quite a wonky recoil pattern. It goes up and starts to bounce up and to the right, and you can see it goes quite high, so the amount you have to pull down on your thumbstick or mouse is quite a lot. When you fully upgrade it, the pattern of the recoil stays the same, but it doesn't go as high vertically, it is a little bit tighter. When it comes to ranking the guns, I'm going to be taking into account all the statistics I've showed you, as well as these recoil patterns. With that in mind, the gun that's going to take the top spot is actually going to be the lmp-x. Even despite its extra one bullet that you need at that mid-range, if you were to weave in a headshot there, the time to kill would be so competitive with the other weapons that it's basically negligible. With its damage profile and better range than the other SMGs, it really is a contender with some of the ARs, and due to its really, really manageable recoil pattern, it can be so effective. It also doesn't require many bullets to actually hit for you to be able to achieve that time to kill, and that's why it takes the number one spot for me. Moving into the second place is going to be the D40C. It has the best time to kill in the closest range and the best time to kill in the mid-range. It does fall off slightly towards the later ranges, but given its recoil pattern, how easy it is to control, it is quite manageable to actually hit the shots necessary to kill people at the longer ranges. This is overall a very, very good consistent weapon, and that's why it's going to take the number 2 spot for me. Coming in third is going to be the SLC. Despite its really high fire rate and its potential to have some of the lowest time to kills in the game, it isn't very consistent of a weapon to be able to hit it. The recoil pattern though is actually what is making it so low on this list. It isn't very easy to control at range, it is quite unpredictable in terms of the recoil, and the attachments don't offer a lot in the way of helping this. The gun is a beast up close, and when you pair it with Scorch's ability, it absolutely shreds, particularly at these closer ranges, but in terms of overall for the SMGs, it is only going to come in third. In last then, we have the HRM24S, which is Lancer's SMG. This overall just doesn't hit the mark in many areas. It has a competitive time to kill up close, an okay time to kill at mid-range, but when you get into the longer ranges, it is really, really unviable. Its recoil pattern is also not very good, and there's no attachment that can help you adjust for this. Compared to the other SMGs, this one doesn't stand out in any particular way. The only thing that makes it really good is the fact that it's paired with Lancer, who can roll reload. That is only the really good thing about this SMG, and I think that is why she has it. Probably the worst SMG, because she has so many mechanics that make her quite strong in a 1v1 anyway. In the comments of my last video, someone pointed out that the guns do seem to be really well balanced around the different rogues, whereas you don't have the best rogues having the best guns, and the abilities tend to be balanced around that as well, and that is very true. They've done a pretty good job at balancing this game overall, but particularly when it comes to the weapons, they did a good job, I think. Okay then guys, that's going to take us to the end of the video, and I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more content. You can also follow me on twitch.tv/RedDarkGaming to see live game commentaries, and come check out my Discord, linked in the description, so that you can come join the community. And if I am going to play with viewers, that is where I'm going to go select them from, so make sure you join in. Other than that guys, I hope you have a fantastic day, and remember, be loyal, be brave, be relentless, and I'll see you in the next video.